Hey.
Yeah. Jerry, you're on with Whitey and, of course, a high flyer. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was listening to you guys, and as much as I enjoy your expertise, both of you, let me crystallize a couple things that you
Please.
both messed up. That the 98, 99 when the team was being built, two first-round picks, Peja and Jay Will, and Corliss Williamson was on that team. He had been the 13th pick a year or so earlier. Olivier St. John, which became Tariq Abdul-Waheed. He'd been a draft pick, a later pick. And so then, of course, the big thing was the trade of Mitch Richmond for Chris Webber, of course. And Vlade was a free agent. Now, the part there was he was probably more interested in going to Phoenix at that time. LA really was. Yeah, so it was Phoenix, but they basically chose Luke Longley over.
Well, so thank goodness for that.
Yes. And so that was that. And you mentioned the two free agents signings of John Barry and Vernon Maxwell. There was also a free agent pickup at the end of the year, Scott Pollard, which was very important.
That was a big pickup.
Yeah, and then later on, Bobby Jackson was acquired as a free agent. And then, of course, the team, then Corliss was traded for Doug Christie. Jay Will was traded for Mike Bibby. And actually later on, Brad Miller was a sign and trade, basically as a free agent kind of thing too, for Hito Turkoglu.
Gotcha.
So anyway, that's your up to date deal. And the other thing that I think there actually was a time when the team was really torn down to the nub. Was the year Reggie Theus was fired, and Kenny Nat took over. And team won 17 games, and of course should have got the first pick, but didn't. That was the year Blake Griffin was the first pick, and the Kings took Tyreek Evans. Of course, as everybody knows, been out. Curry was the seventh pick.
Yeah, that was a pretty good draft, huh? The pretty good players came out.
Yeah, that was a pretty good draft. Well, I've always said the year the Kings got Peja at 14. Kobe was 13.
Yeah.
And Steve Nash was 15.
But Jerry, when you look at Tyreek Evans, that really wasn't a bad pickup. Tyreek Evans balled out his rookie year.
Oh, well, he's rookie of the year.
Yeah,
rookie of the year. No, he there's no reason Tyreek shouldn't have been a many-time All-Star, except for, as you know, Flyer, that he had some issues off the court and some habits that really doesn't bode well for basketball players.
Do you agree, Jerry, with the overall point that I think the high flyer was making, and I agreed with, that for a small market team, if you really want to approach legitimate contender status, you have to rely heavily on the draft?
Yeah, the draft is the key. I mean, because that's how, generally speaking, that's your best chance of getting a major star. I've always said probably for us, getting Mitch Richmond, but we didn't draft him, but we used the third pick in the draft, Billy Owens, to get him. And then, of course, Mitch made us better coming. And then, as I told Mitch, he made us better going. Because so he was double valuable.
Yeah.
but that's how you get it. You have to use a lottery pick either to draft a star or get a star.
And see, Jerry, we always talked about, even with our best two guys, Mitch Richmond and Chris Webber, neither one of those guys wanted to come to SAC. So that's why we say it has to be done through the draft, because big time players just didn't want to come to Sacramento.
Yeah, no, you're not their first choice. It's like a Cooper Flagg. Well, I don't know where he's going to be drafted, but he's going to be probably the first pick. And that if Charlotte gets it, he might not be just overjoyed to go there. Now, I don't know that he won't, but that's not going to be his first choice.
Right.
There's been exceptions to that. I think, with San Antonio's been so lucky because with Duncan and Robinson, they got such different kind of guys.
Yeah.
That they were fine with the small market. It almost fit them better. And but that's doesn't happen often.
Yeah. Yeah. Coach, as long as you're taking us back down memory lane, which we appreciate, clearing up a few things. I've been waiting all week to ask you about Mike Woodson. I know we've talked about him a lot off and on here and there over the years, but I know you coached him when he was first here. It's incredible to me. We talked to a few people, including Mike Bibby. People are raving about Mike Woodson and what he meant to them as a coach of the Knicks and the Hawks. What was it like coaching Mike Woodson, and what do you think of him being Doug's assistant?
Well, if there's ever a pro's pro, that was Woody. I mean, a really good player, had a terrific career, hard worker, tough-minded, really, played hurt. I mean, first year the team was in Sacramento, went to the playoffs, he played on a bad knee the entire second half of the year. That in today's game, guys, you probably wouldn't see him for a year and a half.
Wow.
But I mean, no, he's top shelf. I mean, great hiring. I had texted Doug just to give him my opinion before when I heard the rumors, that you can't go. I don't think you can go wrong. That's just my opinion. But I said he's a little bit old school. Henry knows about those kind of people. He'll hurt your feelings now and then. but as Henry knows, there's some guys need their feelings hurt now and then.
You know what? Really do, Jerry. And I know it's a different game, and some of these young players, they really can't take criticism. Some of the young players, they really don't like to be taught. But I mean, it's something to say when you have tutelage coming from guys like Mike Woodson and, guys like Eddie Johnson and LaSalle Thompson. All of those guys really was like my big brothers who really, showed me the way and how to be a professional in the league.
Yeah, you really need that. Obviously, you need that from players, and certainly, and I said, like I said, I believe you too, is that from Mike's role as an assistant coach. He's been a very successful head coach. He does what good coaches do. When he had good players, he won. When he didn't have good talent, he lost. That's exactly what happens to Pat Riley and Greg Popovich. Same thing. Red Auerbach didn't win big till he got Bill Russell. But I always said that. I mean, what he did do as a head coach, when he had talent good enough to win big, he won big. And then when he didn't, he didn't. That's a strange concept. I know that's the way it works.
It is.
As both you guys know, you don't win in the NBA with a bunch of second round scrappers.
No, you do in the movies, but not in the NBA.
In the movies, you do. Yes, you do. You can do that in the movies. Any
thoughts, Jerry, on B.J. Armstrong as the assistant GM?
Well, he had good experience with Jerry Krause. Now, I know Jerry Krause, and bless his heart, he did a marvelous job, even though very difficult. I always said that I tried hard to like Jerry, but I failed. Pretty much everybody did, but he was rest in peace, Jerry. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah.
But he was very good at his job, and I think that BJ, was part of that. Now I know knowing Jerry that BJ didn't make any final decisions. That was not going to be a possibility, but he was in a first class championship organization there. And so that's good. And then his experience as an agent, I think, is a plus. In today's game, when you see Leon Rose and Bob Myers and Rob Pelinka, all those guys, that was their, real background was being agents.
And you love agents, don't you, Jerry? You love agents.
Oh, I just love them. I mean, no, there's actually one or two that I like.
You know what, Jerry? Want to ask you this.
It may just be one. Now, I think about just one.
Jerry, want to ask you this. As when you look at this Sacramento Kings roster right now, is the point guard situation the most dire position for this team?
Well, it's pretty dire, I think. I kind of agree with you, Henry. I was listening. I sure would hate to give up Malik Monk. I mean, he may not be a pure point guard, but he's a pure player, and so, but this team could really use a legitimate playmaker. I think. I don't think there's any doubt. I honestly think maybe even another long, talented wing is equally as important. I think for this team, a guy that could play, either 3-4, 4-5, either one. That the Naz Reid kind of guy. This team needs that kind of guy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think we've seen enough last year to know that this core, not singling out anybody, but as a group, it's like, have we seen enough, Jared, to know that, okay, this probably isn't it. It doesn't fit. There need to be changes. Or would you perhaps consider give it more time at a point guard and maybe you can run it back?
Well, I've seen enough.
Yeah. Me too.
I think they need changes. It wouldn't have to be wholesale, but I think they've got, if you really just kind of started the year with a minor change, I just don't know. I wouldn't be very confident. I'd wish them well, of course, but I think the roster as it is, if you run it back, I think you're probably going to be lucky to be 9th or 10th, even with, obviously the coaching staff is very, very competent, all that, but it's still a talent league. And then you got these teams that didn't make the play in, like San Antonio and Portland, probably ready to make a move. So I just think my mind is you better change the roster to some degree.
Henry says I got to keep an eye on his old teammate Danny Ainge.
Yeah, well, Danny knows how to do it. And like I say, he built a championship team in Boston. Now, where Henry was a little off there, he pretty much built it through trades. Because he had Paul Pierce, but Ray Allen and a guy named Kevin Garnett was added via trade, which they seemed to help. And but I guarantee you, Danny's getting ready in Utah. He may be may not be quite ready in a year, or this year, but he'll have them back. Yeah. He'll have them back pretty darn quick. I'm like Henry. I'm an Ainge fan. I know one thing. If you're going to trade with him, you better hold on to your wallet.
Jerry, I want to ask you this. We talked about the WNBA for a quick second, understanding that San Francisco has a team, and Whitey was asking me how I thought about that. It always puts a bad taste in my mouth because I really felt like the Monarchs really is very undervalued here in Sacramento. When you talk about a team that was the only team that brought us a championship, I think those girls' trophy need to be in the front of that arena with a big, huge banner of those guys, of those women pitchers.
Well, I totally agree. I mean, of course, I was a general manager, and I really, really enjoyed my time with them, and had a couple of Hall of Fame players from that team, Yolanda Griffith in the Basketball Hall of Fame. I think Tisha Pinachero will be going, and so besides Olympians like Ruthie Bolton and all, and of course, so yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they drew well. People forget that. It was just one of those things where actually I know for a fact, because I was running the thing, that it lost money, but it was losing less money than any other team in the league. But the problem was the Maloofs couldn't afford to lose any money. And at that time, they were kind of bleeding money, and that's that was part of the old where they were shopping the team here, there, and everywhere, which just a sad take. But anyway, that was a little background on that. Like I say, the team wasn't profitable, but it's also true it was closer to being profitable than any other WNBA team at that time.
Jerry, I know we're bouncing around here, but you watch a lot of basketball, and I'm just wondering, with these playoffs, have you ever seen anything like what's going on here? Last couple of games has been normalized, but home court advantage just does not mean what it used to mean. Do you have any idea why that is?
I've always thought even before this year, we're starting to see a little change. To me, it has to do with, the teams are familiar with the other team's arenas time you get to the playoffs. And then you've basically got the best officials that the league has, and that's that may not be earth shattering, but they're
relatively speaking, yeah,
relatively speaking. But and they know they're being scrutinized, and so that takes away some of the the home court advantage where the fans can't quite intimidate officials because they know they're being scrutinized on every play. Although that deal with the Pacers where they had two guys run in there and Naismith left he was past the free throw shooter before the ball left.
He was in a little early. Yeah, he might have been in a little early.
A little early. I got to tell you, that was one of the most amazing things. And not only did three refs not see it, but the broadcast teams never mentioned it. It's
wow.
They said, well, somebody's got to box him out. Well, the only guys that could have boxed him out would have been inside of the lane. He ran from the 3-point line.
Jerry,
I just couldn't. Well, anyway, that's enough of that. But that was amazing.
Jerry, I want to ask you this. We were talking about the playoffs, and Whitey and I were talking about the hard play.
Physicality.
The physicality of the playoffs. And I told him, I said, I love it. I love when games are in the 80s and in the 90s. You get to see tough defense and guys trying to score against elite defenders. I love it. I'd much rather see a game like that than to see a game 125 and 130.
Oh, I'm with you, Henry, but bless your heart. I know you're old school.
Yes, sir.
And you might bruise somebody now and then. I remember that. But you had a little, to be honest with you, you had a little nasty in you. I got to tell people that you had a little nasty.
I told Whitey.
But I'll tell you though, Henry, the thing, I've talked with Whitey about this, man. It's neat knowing that to get 100 points, you have to really earn 100 points, and 100 points can win for you. And I love it. I just kind of wish they would, kind of get more consistent and officiate a little more like that during the regular season. The offense just gets by with too much during the regular season, and now it's tough on these guys knowing that they may get touched down then.
Can you confirm this for us, Jared? Because the High Flyer said earlier, when he played for you, he felt like it was incumbent upon him. Part of his role was to go out and lay some wood to people, to play very physically at the defensive end. He felt like that's what he was supposed to do. Is that what Coach Reynolds wanted of the High Flyer?
It was mentioned. I got to be honest. And I'll tell you, Henry didn't have to mention it very often because he was more than willing to do it.
Hey,
he would hurt. He would sting some guys now.
I'll tell you, I remember this quote from Jerry, and it stuck with me. He said, son, you got 6 fouls, and they don't gain interest. They don't roll over to the next game.
Yeah. As you know, Henry, it's a shame, but it seemed like guys, they get 2, and they're just, from that point on, they're worried they're going to be taken out of the game. It's like, and sometimes coaches do it. It's like, my God, you got 6.
Oh, thank you, Coach. I know it sounds like you're on your walk. I know you're busy. We appreciate it.
Well, yeah, I'm up here in Tahoe. Just finished my walk, but got a chance to listen to you two guys. But I knew I had to straighten you out a little bit.
Yeah,
sometimes,
we appreciate it.
As knowledgeable as you are, there's a couple little flaws in there.
Hey, if anybody can do it, I only let 2 people do it. Jerry Reynolds and the G-Man.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
See you,
All right,
Jerry.
Jerry.
Thank you. The one and only Jerry Reynolds. So it's confirmed. Yeah, thanks, Jerry. It is confirmed. Your job was to go in and, what do you say, sting some people?
Yeah, hey, lay a little wood, man. Because I wasn't a starter, all right? And, and I could score the basketball, but at that particular point, it wasn't one of those things to where I needed to score. It was like, you are a very good defensive player. And I'm telling you, Jerry told me that. Those was his words verbatim.
I don't know if I've heard that one before.
He said, you have 6 fouls, son. He said, you could use all 6 of them because they don't overlap into the next game.